Western New Yorkers are gearing up for Thanksgiving. These are just some of the millions of Americans traveling by air and roadways ahead of the holiday tomorrow. Good evening to you. Today is expected to be the second busiest travel day this holiday week.
The skies alone will see more than 4 million people traveling by plane. And we have live team coverage tonight. We're keeping an eye out at the airport. And we're checking to see if the weather could affect any of those flights. We're going to begin tonight, though, with our chief meteorologist, Todd Santos. Todd?
Yeah, you know, the way we're going with this, I feel like the only way the weather affects the flights is just for kind of slowing things down as far as, say, de-icing is concerned. But other than that, quiet conditions. I mean, the skies are clearing out. I know a lot of you got to see at least some sunshine this afternoon. That was what we were talking about, that once we dealt with the lake effect this morning, the afternoon would be easier for traveling. Thing is, if you noticed, it didn't really warm up. I mean, this is where we are right now. There are already some areas in the teens. So this is where we start the transition into the much cooler side of things, basically the near record cold piece for tonight and tomorrow, and then tomorrow itself for the holiday. So I mean, we're going to see numbers like this for daytime highs tomorrow. So get used to that piece, I guess, at least for a day or two. 19 degrees in Ellicottville. It's looking great for those of you who are planning to head down there on Friday. Ideal conditions to keep the snow in good shape that they've had. And maybe they're making a little bit more of it. We'll check in on that camera in just a bit. But there's a look at the wider view of temperatures. I do expect some of the coldest numbers tonight to end up in places like Wellsville or Olean. They're going to rival what you have right now for wind chills. These are the current wind chills outside. This is the type of stuff we're likely to find early tomorrow morning. Even though there'll be less breeze, temperatures will be colder, and it's going to make it feel more like that for, say, the start of the turkey trot. Snow, we're not going to deal with much more. There are still a few limited lake bands. I wanted to show this high-resolution version first because there's very little even showing up on radar. There may be a few pockets of an additional ½ inch. That's really about it. This is really going to be shutting down overnight tonight. And for what it's worth, it's that northwest lake effect that isn't very effective here across our stretch of western New York. So we will still deal with some minor chances for mainly flurries tonight into tomorrow. I think the more noteworthy piece is this. So even as temperatures get down into, you know, the lower teens, winds will still be at least noteworthy for this. And that's going to be the same story for Thanksgiving. I'll leave you with the Thanksgiving forecast. If we do manage to get to 21, that would be the coldest since records have been kept here in 1871 in western New York. So we'll keep an eye on that side of things. What you can expect for a warm up into the weekend next. Don, Jackie?
Well, whether it's by planes, trains, or automobiles, this is the day where everyone seems to be heading somewhere.
And AAA is expecting a record number of travelers for this holiday. And News 4's George Rickert is standing by live out at the Buffalo Airport, where he's been talking with flyers today. George?
Yeah, we just checked the board a few minutes ago. There are at least 3 flights delayed. They all stem from either LaGuardia or JFK. But other than that, it has been smooth sailing here at the Buffalo Niagara International Airport. In fact, everybody we encountered today, from the passengers to the airline employees to security, they all seem to be in just a good holiday mood. 3 months may not seem like a long time, but when you're waiting for a son to come home from George Washington University?
For me, it's an eternity. So I know he's 25 and he's in grad school and he has his own life, but for me, to have him home for the holidays means everything.
Alice Schur gave up the comfort of Florida to visit her daughter here.
Because my daughter makes a great turkey, but I'm coming in from Sarasota, Florida, so I'm going home Monday.
The Jones family came from Atlanta to make it a Thanksgiving vacation in Niagara Falls.
We try to make it different each year, so this time we picked New York since it's the kids' first time, and it snowed, so that's a win.
Do you want it to snow?
Here, not at home.
And as they all arrived, they were greeted by Molly, the therapy dog, one of several taking shifts today through an SPCA program called Pause for Love to ease the holiday travel stress.
You can see it on people's faces. We have a lot of, we've been doing this over a year now, and we have a lot of experience with, we just kind of walk in and people gravitate towards her, and she leads me to people that she tells me might need a little TLC.
Now, Francesca was one of about 7 different Pause for Love volunteers who took shifts, 2-hour shifts today here at the airport, just bringing smiles to travelers' faces. We'll have more at 6. Live at Buffalo Niagara, George Rickert, News 4 at 5.
Well, hundreds of people are expected to head to the Allentown area tonight for what's known as the biggest bar night of the year. Buffalo police say they plan to have extra patrols on Allen, Chippewa, Hurdle, and Elmwood tonight. Still, police say it's everyone's responsibility to stay safe.
It's not just on the police, but it's on the bar owners, it's on residents to report activity before things become a problem, but it's also on people coming out to enjoy the night responsibly. You don't want to ruin your night out by winding up in custody because of an altercation.
Police also suggest having a plan in place before you go out, including finding a safe and sober ride home.
Well, temperatures are dropping lower and lower, and something many do to keep the car warm could actually land you in trouble with the law. A local police department says they're cracking down on the practice of running vehicles.
News 4's Chris Servatis has information you need to know now before you find out the hard way. Chris?
Well, Jackie, maybe you wake up a few minutes earlier in the winter so you can go out and start the car, leave it running for a few minutes to get it warm before you drive to work. But if you leave your car running with the key inside, you could actually get a ticket from police. It's true. It's Section 1210 of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law, which says it's illegal to leave your car unattended without stopping the engine, locking the ignition, and removing the key. I read it today. Now, police in Niagara Falls say they're going to put an emphasis on enforcing this law because of a citywide issue with cars being stolen. Detective Lieutenant John Conti says thieves will hang out in areas where they know people might be leaving their cars running, like restaurants and convenience stores.
The greatest issue we have now that we've seen, especially lately, is even the age of the people stealing their cars. Last week we had 14 to 15-year-old steal 3 cars in the course of 2.5 hours. And that creates its own problem in the fact that you have somebody who has almost no driving experience driving on the city streets, and thereby it creates a risk to anybody that may be walking in the area or driving in the area.
Conti says officers will be focusing on people who leave their cars running with the key inside. And because it is against the law, police do have the discretion to write you a ticket if they feel it's appropriate. The goal of this campaign, Conti says, is to educate the public. Chris Servatis, News 4.